Ladies, today we're diving into something powerful. Not manipulation, not games, but understanding human psychology, connection, and self-worth. Today, we're talking about how to rewire his mind so that he doesn't just miss you. He craves your presence. He feels your absence. And when he thinks of you, it's not just memory, it's magnetism. First, let's get one thing straight. You can't make someone miss you, but you can inspire that feeling by showing up in a way that touches his emotions, his mind, and his heart. You don't do it by chasing. You do it by pulling back with power. You don't do it by always being available. You do it by being unforgettable. That means showing him what life with you feels like, and then letting him feel the void when you're not around. If you want to rewire a man's mind to miss you like crazy, the first, and perhaps most essential, step is to create emotional imprints. What does that mean? It means going beyond surface level conversations, casual texts, or fleeting flirtation. It means leaving a mark on his emotional memory, something he can't easily shake no matter how much time passes. Here's the truth. People don't always remember exactly what you said or what you wore, but they will always remember how you made them feel. Emotions are like ink on the pages of memory. They linger, they stain, they stay. So how do you do that? Start by being present. When you're with him, really be with him. Put the phone down. Listen with your whole body. Laugh fully. Touch meaningfully. Ask questions that go deeper than the usual. How was your day? Instead, ask what lights him up, what scares him, what he dreams about when no one's looking. Don't be afraid to show your depth either. Share stories that are vulnerable, layered, and real. Let him see the fire in your eyes when you talk about something you love. Let him hear the softness in your voice when you speak about something that shaped you. These moments are where connection is born, not through perfection, but through presence and authenticity. Also, use sensory details to your advantage. Scent, tone of voice, even the texture of your touch. These small things get encoded in the brain alongside emotions. That favorite perfume you wear, that inside joke you shared, that one night you danced in the living room just because. These become anchors in his mind. Long after you're gone, those things will trigger the feeling of you. And that's when the missing begins, not just mentally, but emotionally, even physically. Remember, it's not about overwhelming him. It's about making every interaction intentional. Let him feel joy, curiosity, surprise, safety, emotions that make him associate you with something rare and powerful. If you can be the person who lifts his mood, sharpens his focus, or gives him peace in chaos, you won't just be a woman he likes. You'll be a woman he can't forget. Mystery is magnetic. It's the silent language of allure that pulls someone in without a single word. And when it comes to rewiring a man's mind to miss you, mystery is not just a tool. It's a force. It's what keeps him thinking about you when you're not there. It's what makes him wonder, what is she doing right now? Or who's making her smile like that? In a world where oversharing is the norm and access to people is instant, mystery stands out. It's rare. And what's rare becomes valuable. Now, don't confuse mystery with playing games. This isn't about manipulation. It's about being selective, intentional, and self-contained. You don't need to expose every detail of your life to connect with someone. In fact, the more you leave to the imagination, the more space you create in his mind for curiosity, and curiosity is what keeps a man engaged long after the conversation ends. Mystery starts with energy. It's how you carry yourself. It's the confidence in knowing that you don't need to prove your worth. He'll feel it. It's the quiet strength of not oversharing everything on the first date or explaining your every move. A mysterious woman understands that not everyone deserves full access to her thoughts, her time, or her emotions. Let your actions speak louder than words. Let your silence have weight. When he asks about your weekend, smile and say, "It was good. I'll tell you about it another time." That small pause, that tiny holdback, it creates tension. It makes him lean in. It makes him want to know more. Mystery also means letting parts of yourself unfold slowly. Don't reveal your whole story like a novel dumped on the table. Reveal it like a poem, line by line, moment by moment, letting him savor each word. Let him earn the deeper layers of you. Social media, use it wisely. You don't need to post your every move. In fact, being unpredictable can work in your favor. One day you're out with friends, glowing and laughing. The next day you're silent. That rhythm, presence, then pause, creates an emotional beat that keeps him thinking, wondering, craving. And here's the secret sauce. When a man doesn't know everything about you, he can't put you in a box. He can't predict you, and that unpredictability keeps his mind active. It makes him chase clarity, and the more he chases, the more emotionally invested he becomes. Mystery says, "There's more to me than what you see now. And if you want to know me, you have to show up, stay curious, and be patient." There is nothing more unforgettable than a woman who is unapologetically herself. Not the watered-down version of her, not the version shaped to please others, but the version that walks in truth, breathes in confidence, and lives in alignment with her own values, desires, and boundaries. Being unapologetically you is the core of emotional magnetism. It's the thing that makes a man not only miss you, but respect you, admire you, and yearn to be in your presence again. Let's be real. There's a lot of pressure in the world to be the perfect woman. Be sweet, but not too soft. Be sexy, but not too much. Be independent, but not intimidating. Society hands us a script, and too many women shrink themselves to fit it. But here's the truth: the woman who dares to tear up that script and write her own. She's unforgettable. When you're authentic, you don't just attract someone, you align with them. The right man will be drawn to the real you, not a performance. And the beauty of that is, when you're not trying to mold yourself into what you think he wants, you give him space to fall in love with the essence of you. Your quirks, your rhythm, your voice, your perspective, your light. Unapologetic doesn't mean arrogant. It means grounded. It means knowing what you bring to the table and never begging for a seat at one. It means not explaining away your standards or your feelings just to keep the peace. If something doesn't sit right with your spirit, you don't stay silent. You speak up. Not with drama, but with dignity. It also means taking up space, emotionally, physically. Spiritually, you're not here to be quiet background noise in someone else's story. You're here to be the main character in your own. And anyone who wants to be in your life needs to respect that. When you're unapologetically you move differently. You don't chase validation, you embody value. You don't settle for breadcrumbs of attention. You know you're worthy of the whole damn bakery. And that mindset, that energy, it shifts everything. It sticks with him. He remembers it when he's scrolling through his phone. When he meets other women who lack that spark, that depth, that fire, you become the standard in his mind, the one he compares others to. Here's something powerful. When a man sees that you love yourself, he starts to see you through that same lens. Your self-acceptance gives him permission to fall for the real you, not a filtered version, but the beautifully raw, complex, radiant woman standing in front of him. Because the moment you stop trying to be enough for someone else and realize you already are enough for yourself, that's when the magic happens. There's power in your presence, yes, but there's also power in your absence. And if you want to rewire his mind to miss you like crazy, you have to understand the magnetic pull of being just out of reach sometimes. Not as a trick, not as punishment, but as a reflection of your value, your time, and your self-respect. Here's the reality. People tend to crave what they can't fully grasp. When something or someone is constantly available, it's human nature to take it for granted. But when that access becomes a privilege instead of a guarantee, its value increases exponentially. Let's put it this way. If your attention is a faucet that's always on, he might enjoy the stream, but he won't rush to cup it in his hands. But if it flows in moments, intentional, warm, real, then stops, suddenly he leans in, he notices, he misses it, because now your presence has contrast. Now, your absence speaks just as loudly. This doesn't mean playing hard to get or disappearing without reason. It means creating a healthy space between giving and pulling back, between engagement and detachment. It's about understanding that your time is valuable, your energy is sacred, and you don't need to be constantly available to prove your care or interest. When he texts, don't always respond immediately. When he asks to see you, don't always say yes just because you can. Let your yes mean something. Let it come from a place of choice, not habit. That space gives him room to step forward, to reach, to initiate. It puts the ball in his court, and that's where he has the opportunity to show you what he's really about. Being less available also signals that you have a full, rich life of your own, one that doesn't revolve around waiting for his call or fitting into his schedule. You're busy becoming the best version of yourself, nurturing your passions, spending time with people who inspire you, chasing goals that light your soul on fire. And when he sees that, it's intoxicating. It makes him wonder, how do I fit into her world? Instead of assuming you'll drop everything to fit into his. And let's be clear, this is not about withholding love or playing mind games. It's about teaching through your actions that you are not here to be someone's emotional safety net. You're not here to be their entertainment on a lonely night. You're here to be chosen, prioritized, and respected. So when you pull back, do it with grace. Don't explain. Don't overcompensate. Let him feel the pause. Let him notice the silence. That quiet? It's the space where longing is born. And in that space, he begins to feel your absence. Not just logically, but emotionally. He starts to remember the sound of your laugh, the way you challenge him, the spark you bring when you walk into the room. Because in a world that's always shouting for attention, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply step back and let him come looking for you. There is nothing more irresistible than a woman who is deeply in love with her own life. If you truly want to rewire his mind to miss you like crazy, the key isn't to center your world around him. It's to center it around you. To build a life so rich, so vibrant, so full of energy and depth that your presence becomes a rare experience, not just a routine. When you're genuinely fulfilled, you radiate a certain glow. It's not something you have to perform or fake. It just is. It's in the way you talk about your dreams, the way your eyes light up when you're doing something you love, the way you carry yourself with joy that doesn't depend on anyone else to exist. That energy is contagious. It's magnetic. It makes people want to be around you, not because you're trying to impress them, but because you remind them of what it feels like to be alive. Here's the truth: a woman who is constantly waiting around, checking her phone, adjusting her schedule just in case he calls, she starts to lose that glow. Her life becomes reactive, predictable. And in that predictability, the intrigue fades, the chase dies, the emotional impact weakens. But a woman who is busy building her dreams, exploring new places, laughing with her friends, learning new things, she becomes unforgettable. Because while he's living in the rhythm of the familiar, you become the spark of something extraordinary, something that feels like freedom, something that feels like life. When he checks your Instagram and sees you smiling on a rooftop at sunset, or dancing barefoot at a beach party, or launching your side hustle with pride, what do you think he feels? He doesn't just see you. He feels the absence of being next to you. He starts to think, she's out there creating magic, and I'm not a part of it. That's when the missing begins. A full life also makes you more emotionally grounded. You don't overinvest in one connection too quickly, because your world doesn't revolve around being chosen. It revolves around choosing yourself. It's hard to be desperate when you're already fulfilled. It's hard to cling when you already have everything you need. And ironically, that self-sufficiency, that glow up from the inside out, it's what makes him want you even more. Because you're not looking to be rescued. You're not waiting to be completed. You're inviting someone into a life that's already beautiful, with or without them. So live big. Take that class. Go on that trip. Start that project. Laugh louder. Love harder. Try new things. Don't put your life on pause while you wait for his affection. Press play, turn up the volume, and let the music of your life be something he hears even in silence. Silence is one of the most underrated powers in human connection, especially when it comes to rewiring a man's mind to miss you. It's not just the absence of words, it's the presence of energy. It's a space that allows him to sit with his thoughts, his feelings, and most importantly, the lack of you. In a world that constantly pushes us to react instantly, text back, reply quickly, post more, say something, strategic silence becomes a powerful contrast. It creates space, it builds tension, it leaves room for imagination, and it forces him to do the emotional lifting. Strategic silence is not about ghosting or punishing. It's not about being passive-aggressive or creating confusion. It's about being intentional. It's about knowing when to pull your energy back so that your presence can actually be felt. It's about understanding the psychology of desire, how absence creates value, and how mystery is amplified in the quiet. Think of it like music. The notes are important, but the spaces between the notes, the pauses, those are what create rhythm, drama, anticipation. That pause before the beat drops, that's what makes it hit harder. The same principle applies to emotional connection. Sometimes the silence is the part he remembers most. When you're always available, always explaining, always filling every gap in conversation, he never gets the chance to miss you. He doesn't get to wonder. But when you step back, when you don't immediately reply, when you take a moment to respond thoughtfully instead of impulsively, that's when the magic begins. He starts to notice your absence. He replays your last message. He rereads your texts. He wonders if you're busy or if you've moved on. And that wondering, it's the spark that fans into desire. That space in his mind that used to feel filled with certainty now becomes filled with curiosity. And curiosity is what keeps you alive in someone's thoughts. Strategic silence is also a boundary. It's saying, I don't need to fill every moment with noise to prove I care. It's showing that you're confident enough to let things breathe. It's giving yourself permission to observe instead of always reacting. It's how you maintain your emotional clarity, your peace, and your power. Use silence when you're not being met with the energy you deserve. Use silence when the conversation has run dry. Use silence when his actions don't align with his words. And most importantly, use silence when you feel that you're doing too much, and it's time for him to step up. Because the silence of a woman who knows her worth isn't empty, it's loud, it echoes, it lingers. It makes him remember what your presence feels like and crave it all over again. If you want to create a connection that lingers in his mind, something he can't quite shake, no matter how hard he tries, then you need to go beyond surface level attraction. You need to anchor yourself in his senses, because while words fade and logic gets quiet, the senses, they remember. The brain processes sensory experiences in the same part where emotions and memories are stored. That means when you stimulate a man's senses, sight, smell, touch, taste, sound, you're not just creating a moment, you're creating an emotional imprint, a deeply rooted memory that can be triggered over and over again by the simplest things. A certain scent, a song on the radio, a familiar texture, a laugh that sounds like yours. These are the things that make someone miss you like crazy, sometimes without even realizing why. Let's start with scent, because this one is powerful. Our sense of smell is directly connected to the limbic system, the emotional brain. A signature perfume, a hint of your shampoo, the subtle scent of your skin after a day in the sun, those stay with him. Long after the date is over, long after the text thread goes quiet, the memory of your scent can rise unexpectedly and flood his mind with emotions he didn't expect. He'll smell something in a store or on a stranger and feel a gut punch of longing. That's power. Then there's touch. But it's not just about being physically close. It's about the quality of the touch. A light brush of your fingers across his arm during conversation. A playful tap on the shoulder. A warm hand on the back of his neck when you say goodbye. These touches don't have to be overly sexual to be deeply sensual. It's about creating a feeling, a connection that says, I'm here, I'm present, and I'm in tune with you. Those sensations linger long after you're gone. They play on repeat in his nervous system, creating a craving that's not just mental, but physical. Sound is another powerful trigger. Your voice, its tone, rhythm, and softness can become a melody in his mind. When you speak in a way that's warm, expressive, and real, your words become more than conversation. They become music. The sound of your laugh, the way you say his name, the pauses between your sentences, all of it weaves into an emotional frequency that he begins to miss without even knowing he does. And then there's sight. Yes, of course, he notices your beauty, but true visual imprinting comes from what you radiate, your style, the way you move, the confidence in your eyes, the ease in your smile. It's how you show up. When you carry yourself with grace, with energy, with a sparkle in your eyes that says, I love life, he doesn't just see you. He remembers you. He closes his eyes and sees that dress, that smirk, that moment when you looked over your shoulder and laughed at something only half heard. You become a movie reel in his mind. Even taste can be part of this sensory blueprint. Maybe it's the way you always order that one unique drink. Maybe it's the flavor of your favorite dessert you once shared. Maybe it's the kiss that lingers. One that's sweet, slow, and unexpected. These small things don't feel big in the moment, but they come back later when he's alone, and suddenly he's missing everything. Tapping into his senses isn't about seduction, it's about connection. It's about creating moments so rich, so multi-dimensional that your presence lives in more than just his memory. It lives in his body. It becomes muscle memory, emotional recall, a longing that isn't always logical, but always real. If you want to rewire a man's mind to truly miss you, to feel your absence like a weight in his chest, like a song stuck on repeat in his head, you have to be willing to step back, not in a way that feels like punishment, not in a way that closes the door, but in a way that leaves just enough space for him to realize what life feels like without your presence. See, most people don't understand the difference between being missed and being forgotten. They think if they're not constantly showing up, checking in, or reminding someone of their existence, they'll disappear from their mind completely. But the opposite is often true. When your energy is impactful, your absence becomes louder than your presence ever could be. When you pull back, after you've made him laugh, made him think, made him feel, you create contrast. You introduce a pause in the rhythm, a silence in the song. And in that pause, his mind starts to wander. His heart starts to notice the text that doesn't come, the call that doesn't ring, the energy that suddenly isn't there. It's in those empty moments where your presence starts to haunt the room. But here's the key for your absence to be felt. Your presence must first be meaningful. You have to be someone who adds value, someone who brings warmth, connection, unpredictability, and light. Someone who leaves little emotional fingerprints on his soul in the way you speak, the way you look at him, the way you listen when others don't. It's not about being loud. It's about being real. When your energy has depth, your absence has weight. Letting him feel your absence also requires trust in yourself, in your worth, and in the connection you've built. It's resisting the urge to overcompensate, to chase, to fill every gap in communication out of fear he'll forget you. You don't chase what's meant to stay. You allow it the space to come back on its own. And if it doesn't, that's not rejection. It's revelation. Sometimes we forget that missing someone is a gift. It's a sign that a connection mattered. And when you allow someone the opportunity to miss you, you allow the connection to mature, to deepen, to prove itself. You give him the space to come toward you on his own terms, not because you pulled him, but because he felt the pull from within. And let's be honest, emotional impact isn't always about what you say or do. Sometimes it's about what you don't. The call you don't make. The reply you don't send right away. The weekend plans you don't rearrange just to be more available. It's in that stillness where he realizes he's not entitled to your time, that your life moves whether he shows up or not, that he wants to be part of your world, not because you beg him, but because he can't stop thinking about how it felt to be in it. Letting him feel your absence isn't passive, it's powerful. It's an act of emotional self-control, of grace, of quiet confidence. It's saying, I've already left my mark. Now it's your turn to notice what it feels like without me in the room. So, if you truly want to rewire his mind to miss you like crazy, don't chase him. Magnetize him. Become the kind of woman whose energy lingers, whose memory stings sweetly in the silence, whose absence echoes louder than a room full of noise. You don't need to beg to be remembered. You don't have to perform to be adored. When you show up fully in your own power, radiant, self-sufficient, emotionally intelligent, and deeply rooted in your worth, you become unforgettable by nature. Let him feel the weight of your silence. Let him long for the sound of your voice. Let him crave the warmth of your presence. And above all, live a life so full, so rich, so magnetic that missing you doesn't feel optional. It feels inevitable. Because the truth is, when you truly know your value, you don't need to make anyone miss you. They just will. And by the time he realizes what he had you'll be the woman he can't forget, and the one he knows he'll never replace.